So, OSG, I had, if I can find it on Excel, $6 loss. All right, let's get rid of Excel. I don't want my computer to reheat. All right. Why did I buy it, right? I'm looking at this chart, and I'm struggling to figure out why I bought it, too. Why the fuck did I buy this? Now, this is the important part about going back to look at why you buy certain things. Because sometimes in the heat of the moment, maybe it's FOMO and you don't really realize it. But then you look back on it, like let's say 1 day later, 2 days later. I bought this on Friday. No, I think I bought this on Thursday. Yeah, July 1st. I bought this on Thursday at $288, right? I bought it at $288. It closed at $288, but I bought it at $288. Somewhere in here, somewhere in the morning, I hadn't traded the day before either, I think. And I just bought it at $288, and I can't, like, looking at this chart, like, I'm looking at this chart right here. Okay, I think I understand why I bought it. All right, so it gapped up huge. OSG gapped up huge. Not really sure why, but it gapped up huge. So I figured that 280 was going to be some sort of support level past this breakout. Anywhere from 285 to 280 would serve as support. So if I bought at 288, right? Yeah, I remember it got all the way up to like 295 before it came back down. Definitely did not get to $3 while I was here. So I definitely bought it after. Oh, yes, there we go. All right, so I bought it on the dip. Now I remember. I bought it on the dip to 280, and I was seeing right here that it had bounced, that it couldn't crack this 283 area, right? So I figured that this was after such an impressive run from 258 to freaking 305, right? Like 50, what is that? Almost 50 cents. After that I thought was impressive. That run, right? It came back down. It would keep coming back down to 283. And I figured that was because it was support. There was a lot of support at 280, right? And if you look at this, the wick for this top candle, the high here was 284. So it's like 283, 280, 284 area. The point is, it was like, I thought it was bouncing off of this right here. So I bought it on this little dip, right? Because it went from 305 to 285. So like, let's say a 20 cent drop. And I said, okay, well, it's going up a little bit. I'm going to buy it at 288 in the chance that it will retest this high, or I'll sell it at 295, right? When I bought this, I had no idea where I wanted to sell. I thought it could retest the threes. But when I actually bought it at 288, I said to myself, is this realistic? Is $3 realistic? Do I really think it can retest threes? Why? Why would it be able to retest threes? Like, would it not make more sense for me to sell it at 295 because of this little struggle right here? So let me see if I can zoom in on that. Yeah, so right here that it was struggling at 295, it went to 296 most, and then it was able to break out till 3. So once it was down here and I bought it at 288, I bought it right here. When I bought it at 288, and it was going up, right? And it looked beautiful. If you ignore this entire half of the screen and you just focus on everything from the left to here, like, it looks like a great, like, nice little bounce, right? So I said to myself at 288, is it realistic for it to retest 3? Because this right here is kind of like a head and shoulder pattern, right? Where this is like the left shoulder, this is the head. This over here was kind of like forming something. It was just like a strong drop. It couldn't really at the 290s, like it couldn't go up right here. It couldn't go past it, just like it couldn't go past here. So was it realistic for me to think that it would go up to 3? The answer is no, right? So when was that 295? I was up, I think, about like $16, $17, and no commission. So I was like, all right, you know what? That's pretty good. Let me I'm gonna put in my sell order, and I'm just get out at 295. I didn't recognize this pattern. I didn't recognize this head and shoulders. I didn't recognize this right here, that it was gonna have resistance at 95. I sold. I was trying to sell just because I was trying to sell. Like, there wasn't really any motive behind it, and that's where I fucked up. Right here, obviously, was the top, so I couldn't sell at 295. I was typing 2.9, and then it just started doing all of this in 1 minute where it was dropping. So, and I was like, okay, it's just a little drop. It's gonna bounce back right now. And then it just kept going and going and going, and it got to 287, 288, and I said to myself, okay, well, this new little 286 level is exactly, this is the new bottom, because this is where it bounced off, and it just kind of held this whole side. That's the whole reason I bought up here in 288, because I said it could hold 286. Well, that was wrong with that too. And then it just, boom, it dropped even more till 283, and I wasn't really going to risk it. Once it bounced off of 283 right here, you can see this little top wick to 283. I got kind of scared because, as you can see, this was the bottom, and this was kind of like where it had been supporting itself right at 283-ish. So I wasn't going to wait for it to break 80. I got psyched out once it retested this 283 level. So I sold into this little top wick, like 282.845. And I got out with like a $6 loss. The markets were green. Everything was fine. It's just, like, I was upset that I didn't recognize, in hindsight, that head and shoulders pattern. I did not see this head and shoulder pattern forming, right? Like, it was forming right in front of me. If anything, I could have sold into this little shoulder right here as it was running up, but I did not think, and seeing it now, I can see it clear as day, right? I can see that 295 should have been the resistance level. So, like, I shouldn't have aimed to sell right at the top. 288 in general was already a late entry, especially if I was using 286 as support. So if I was already thinking, okay, well, I'm going to risk till 283, I probably should have just bought at 286, 287. But then I already bought up here at 288 going into 289. And then what should I have sold? Should I have sold at like 293, 294 most? Like, I wasn't going to catch the top. So what is that? Like a 6 cents? Like a 6 cent profit on my small account, even though this had no commissions. I just feel like this wasn't the best setup, and I just traded to trade it. I mean, 6 cents max profits, risking from 288 till 283, risking 5 cents, like a 6 cent reward to a 5 cent risk. Like, come on, like, that's just, I hadn't traded in like a day, and I think I was pretty much I just traded to trade at this point, honestly. I saw it was high. I thought, this was a breakout and that it was going to hold it. But, I mean, given it gapped up and went all the way to 3 and it just couldn't hold it. I should have known. Now I can see it, and now I should have known better. Now that I talk about it, I should have known better. It definitely faded away for the rest of the day. It broke this 280 level. So that little 280 right here that I was talking about, it broke it. But it didn't break it by a lot. It broke it by 4 cents, and then after that, it had a nice little bounce from 270 back up to like 290. So that's about 20 cents, which is what I wanted right here to like break for it to break out into new highs. But it was pretty much a fader, and I'm glad I did what I did, honestly. Overseas Shipholding Group. Can't remember what the hell the news was, but I'm pretty sure this was up on news. Let me see if I can find it. Where the fuck is the news? Let me see if I can find it. I'm sorry I talk so much. Where the fuck is the news? Oh, it's loading. There we go. Symbol, OSG. OSG. Strategic alternatives. Was this it? No. Oh, maybe this was it. Yeah, alright. So it was a lot of this. Made a preliminary non-binding proposal to overseas shipholding board to buy shares at $3 a price. Overseas shipholding group confirms receipt of unsolicited non-binding acquisition proposal. There we go. That's what it was. That's what I saw. So it was acquisition news. So the acquisition news on MJWL, which was another runner, were like that. Those were great, but this was more of a buy rumor, sell them news. Those were great. So I thought OSG could run the same, but I mean the gap up was already so immense. I don't think I should have expected so much. And it's a listed stock, so yeah, that was OSG. All right, so we will go back and we'll record. I'll try to record the next trade and see what's up, see what happens. To try to record some level 2 in there. I think talking to myself and talking these trades out loud, and then kind of asking myself, because for some reason I'm better at teaching than actually doing. So I think for me, if I wouldn't have been talking about this out loud and I'm trying to teach somebody, I wouldn't have been able to see it myself. So I think just verbal coaching will be my new best friend. Not sure if I'm going to post these types of videos on Profitly because, haters going to hate, but it might do me justice to post these kinds of videos on Profitly just to for me to be able to keep track and to revisit all of my trades and hear myself talk and hear myself through it and understand why I'm doing what I'm doing and be able to write it down. So, all right, I think that's it. I'm going to finish it there at 30 minutes. Bye.